There's a new threat in today from Hamas. It now says it will postpone the next hostage release, which is set to take place this coming Saturday in Gaza. Postponing that until further notice, accusing Israel of breaking the ceasefire deal. This after we saw 3 hostages released by Hamas over this past weekend. They appeared to be gaunt and frail, and they were forced to thank Hamas as they were released. Or Levy, Eli Sharabi, Ohad Ben Ami, they were set free and then reunited with their families, all spending 16 months in captivity. Here now with analysis is Hal Kempfer, House Marine Intelligence Officer, now the host of the Strat podcast. Welcome, Hal. So on the hostage announcement or threat from Hamas today, where do you think that puts us, and what happens next year as we try to move this thing from phase to phase?
Well, Connell, it's a setback. There's just no other way to put it. In fact, the mediators talking about the next phases of negotiation are saying that things are not looking good right now, that this is a setback. And of course, they've cited, Hamas has cited a number of things. They said there were still Israeli airstrikes in Gaza. But a lot of this seems to go back to President Trump's statement about taking ownership and displacing the Palestinians who were there into other countries. And this is kind of set basically, certainly Hamas, but set the Palestinians on fire, if you will, this idea. And of course, it was also, this is coinciding with events in Tehran, where you have Hamas leaders meeting with Ayatollah Khomeini.
All right, let's talk about the Trump proposal then a bit. That I have on the tablet. We can put it up. But generally speaking here about his idea for the U.S. to take over the Gaza Strip. But what you're getting at is what happens to the people, right? 2+ million people to be moved out. And his latest comments say that at least for now, they would not necessarily, be that they would not necessarily go back. They might stay somewhere else, as he's kind of put it. So you're saying that certainly has disrupted things, right? So now what? What's Trump's next move, I wonder, in all this?
Well, I think President Trump's next move is to basically work within the negotiation framework. There is a meeting that's been set with a number of Arab nations in Cairo. I believe it's on February 27th. It's not a meeting of the Arab League per se, but you're going to have a lot of key members that are in the Arab League, and they're going to talk about the Palestinian situation. And really, if you look at the kind of stand back a little bit and not just look at the proposal, but you're looking at the effect of the proposal, it's kind of forcing the Arab countries around to come up with an alternative plan. And that's been one of the frustrations the U.S. has had, certainly Israel's had, is there just hasn't been that forthcoming proposal, that forthcoming, ideas of what to do. And now, obviously, the Hamas or the Palestinians there look at this as Nakba 2, that they're being forced out of their own lands.
So I get what you're saying, because a lot of people were saying that when Trump came out and said, well, we want to take over the Gaza Strip, that all he's trying to do is, Saudi Arabia says, well, we don't want that. Like, here's what we should do. So what happens if that doesn't happen, if no alternative plan comes forward? Because then President Trump is left with his previous comments before the election, which is, hey, if these hostages don't get out, there will be, quote unquote, hell to pay, right? So does he have to make good on that? And what does that even mean?
Connell, that opens up a lot of questions. Right now, Israel's military, based on this recent, this announcement by Hamas about postponing the release, Israel's military was told to be prepared for any action. In other words, they're basically being prepared to go to war again. I don't know if the U.S. would put boots on the ground, so to speak, in Gaza, but you could see a very forthright U.S. support of Israel using perhaps military means to go get the hostages if everything else fails.
Right. Yeah, because you have to always wonder. It's one thing to say this is the goal, but if they don't go for it, then what? Hal, thanks. Hal, thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.